Hello to the Foundational Infrastructure Working Group meeting, 17th of July. We managed to make our meeting popular again. I see many people here. So the agenda, usually we go always looking through the PRs we have, issues, checking our promotions, and then talking about any other business. I think many people are here in the call. We can start first with the other topics, and then at the end we can check our dashboard and PRs, so that you are not forced to wait until we discuss over the open PRs. So the first one is about use Bosch storage CLI for blob store operations. Do you want to say something? So basically, this is the RE working group who would like to reuse the storage CLIs we have for the different hyperscalers in Cloud Controller.
Yeah, I can say a few things. We have the Cloud Controller as Bosch written in Ruby, and we have the same issues. We have the issues that the fog libraries are not well maintained anymore. And for example, the Azure Storage SDK for Microsoft is deprecated anymore. So yeah, it's a lot of potential problems in the future. Ruby version updates in the future will be problematic in the Cloud Controller. Things like CVEs which might come in and so on. This will all will become problematic. And yeah, we started to look into that a couple of weeks ago, and then we were wondering how Bosch is actually doing that, because we knew Bosch is also written in Ruby, and then we saw that you replaced Fog some time ago with those CLIs, and we saw then that and we thought this could be a good approach. As you know, those CLIs are all written in Go using the provided SDKs by the different providers. And what we basically did, we ran a small POC, which uses the Azure Storage CLI. So we put that into Cloud Controllers, wrote a small client around it, and deployed it, and we were able to push apps with that. So it's basically working. And all our findings basically we summarized in this ADR now, which is here linked. And the goal here would be for today to come up with an agreement on that we can use those CLIs. We would also need to make some modifications. So the existing commands work for us, but we would need some additional ones. But it would not be any breaking changes. Did I miss anything, Stephan?
No, I think that's basically it. So the main idea is to talk about it, whether that's a good idea, bad idea, because if we go this path, then it means we will come up probably with changes, PRs to those CLIs. And on the other hand, the let's say commands that are implemented in the CLIs, they become a more important API that you cannot change anymore easily, because it's now used also by other clients and other working groups. I mean, it's still internally in Cloud Foundry. So if there's a need to incompatibly change the CLI commands for upload or download, then yeah, it would be possible, but it's more effort, of course.
We talked a little bit internally about this, and most probably will make sense to move the CLIs on the shared responsibility between the working groups. What is your opinion on that?
I mean, what I Now, from TOC point of view, a repository has to be assigned to exactly one working group. You cannot have repos in two. But what can be done, it could be an extra area. And then over time, we could, let's say, do the typical work and, let's say, apply for reviewer and approver role in this area. I think at the moment it's part of, I guess, Bosch. That's a huge area, so maybe that's would not be that wise to add here us as approvers. But if there's a separate area, why not?
Yeah, we did something similar with the Cloud Foundry Homebrew tab. For example, it is living in the admin working group or admin org, and here we have the shared repository with the shared approvers from different working groups.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense in my mind. I think what I heard from Aram is that there's a desire to unify the code bases because it's currently a bit scattered around, right? Like an CI, like Aram already did some work to try to standardize CI, but ideally it would be, given it's all in Go, probably it makes sense to have it in a single repository, so to make it easier to have code reuse and everything. And maybe like such a refactoring would make sense to do before adding new functionality, right? We never prioritize the work because it said like, yeah, it's basically feature complete, right? We're not making many changes, but now if we're planning to make changes, it would be good to do that type of work.
Mm-hmm. We should then find a working mode, or let's say from the other round. For us, there is a certain urge here because the Ruby SDK is actually out of maintenance since nearly a year. Meanwhile, and sooner or later, certain scans that have a delay of 1 year about version updates will notify us. That's the one point. And the other point is that first experiments with the next Ruby version showed issues with fork. And of course, we could also invest in updating fork or forking those libraries to get it somehow working. But we thought it's a better investment into these complete change of the download functionality. And here the timeline is, I think, end of March 26, when the current used, I think Ruby 3.2 is currently used by the cloud controller, goes out of maintenance. 3.3 doesn't work because for some technical reasons, and 3.4 is the next version that we want to use in the cloud controller. So that's the time frame.
Maybe we can. Maybe we can
You are
right?
breaking, Ruben.
And then making that a canonical repo, right? And then extend that with the additional function. Yeah, sorry.
Now it's good. Can you just repeat?
I will try to. Yeah, I want to say like start with one repo, say maybe S3 or the AWS one, right? Make that the canonical repo, rename it to make it the canonical name, and then we add the additional functions that are needed. And then over time, when we want to do the work for additional cloud,
you're not audible anymore, so it's difficult to follow.
What I understood a little bit is to start with the S3 CLI Ruben mentioned, but you are more interested in the Azure one.
We have to choose one where we started, and we used Azure because here the pressure is
in that central repo.
Yeah.
You are back a little bit, Ruben.
Should be better in a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, that's it can be done, of course. We could start with such a refactoring in the beginning. What we would need then is somebody, a contact person for us who would be willing to work on this, because initially with a CI setup especially, we don't have access rights, and we are probably not able to do that without somebody with sufficient power in the repositories.
Yeah, you mean looking into PRs with priority and accepting those, or
Yeah, if you initially start, let's say we would take the Azure storage, Bosch Azure storage CLI, and now want to do this first. I think that's how I understood it. Proposal that we create a new repository like storage CLI, which will be the canonical one for all the infrastructures, and then start to move it over. These are things, typically mechanical refactoring, setting up new CI, etc. That's pretty hard via external PRs and waiting for a review, see that it breaks again. So this is something either you do or we set it up initially with an approver set up and a special area where we have then full repository access. So just from the practical working.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to shift over now the workload to you because you probably haven't planned that. And we are the ones who are interested in the functionality. But if we would do it, then we would need somehow also the tools to do it. So then maybe one.
It basically means you start with it's basically a fork, right, of into a new area of an existing of one of the CLIs, right, and then you would start setting up CI and everything new. But like, but for this canonical case, right, assuming that there will be more added to that, right, so eventually it all converges into the single repo, but it can be done one by one, and then Bosch can start switching over to those. To that repo. Like we agree that that will be the canonical place, and we in parallel can, like, Bosch can start converging on that repo, and you all can add your new functionality to that repo.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Maybe also the Concourse service will be available so that we set up the automation there for.
Yeah, or GitHub Actions. I don't know what exists. So if it's it's more or less than unit tests, and probably GitHub Actions is easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like GitHub Actions. Like that would simplify a lot of the, or then we don't have an additional blocker, right?
Then the next, let's say, from an organizational point of view, the next step would be to create this area and assign initial approvers and create an empty repository where we then start with the content, because then we also don't, that would decouple the work pretty well.
Yeah, would it make sense to have an RFC to have this proposal laid out there?
That can be done.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically just this plan that we just laid out. But because it's like creating a new area and like cross working group, right? I think it's good to have some documentation about the plan of record.
Where would this area live? In this admin working group, or in foundational infrastructure, or in ARI working group?
I would say admin, because we decided that when we been looking for homebrew tab, we decided to go for admin area working group.
But that's from a description. Homebrew tab is something different. Yes, it's reused, but it's something different than function. Yeah, real implementation of projects that are heavily used. It's
Yeah, I would want it in one of the working groups that's more closely working on it. Like admin doesn't make sense. It's too. It's not that of like the homebrew is really like not as critical and really like high level or something. This feels different.
Then my proposal is simply, just because it's closest, would be a new area in foundational infrastructure, and we start with an initial set of approvers that includes the cloud controller team and the Bosch team.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then I would prepare such an RFC. It would, take over a little bit of text of this ADR that we have, but maybe not in that technical detail, and then describe more this organizational setup, this new area. And yeah, discussion about names, etc., can then be done on this RFC.
Okay. Okay. I think we have an agreement here. Is there anything still to discuss? Then we can.
We can continue.
Yeah, we can continue with the next point, which is about Postgres release. So people would like to have a new release of the Postgres Bosch release. And currently our Bosch CI configuration doesn't allow to the approvers in that area, which is integrated databases, MySQL, Postgres code like that. They don't have any rights to run the pipeline. Yeah, and they would like to have this. I've been looking in our concourse setup, and this was also a little bit discussed here. Ruben mentioned, sorry for jumping around. So Ruben also mentioned that we have some configuration. I've been looking into the setup, and yeah, we have team. We are using already Teams, which is not like you don't see this in the configuration we have for concourse. They have been configured manually, but that means we have to create one additional team and add this pipeline to that team. So the team, the owner of the team will be the approvers of the working group area, databases and Postgres. So basically the people in this from here will get owner role for that pipeline. All the other configuration regarding Teams has been done manually. I think we can just create the additional team manually.
I think let's do it manual, because I'm assuming that with this shared concourse, right, that's coming up with the RFC, right? Like then things will eventually move anyway, right? So
yes, that's what I wanted to say. The Postgres, I've been talking to Pascal. They're interested to move to that central concourse. Yeah.
So do the pragmatic thing now to unblock them.
Yeah. Is there someone volunteering to do this? Okay, I can do this. I will try tomorrow. I think this is not so urgent. I think I will have time tomorrow to Okay, anything else to mention on this topic?
So can you give a rough estimation when we can expect the new Postgres release?
I will try to get the setup right tomorrow, and Pascal, I think Pascal needs to get it. It's prepared. I think the pipeline needs to be run just, or so I will try tomorrow.
Okay, so you're trying to create a new release as soon as possible. Okay, fine.
No, I will give rights to Pascal to run the pipeline.
Okay.
He's approval at the moment, so I will configure that the approvers in that area can just check. I think Pascal is approving that area, and then he can then look into creating the release. Yeah, if there is something I can. Yeah, Pascal is approval. We have also other people. I think most of the people are not active anymore. But it's a different story. Okay, and the next on the list is about cost optimization. So what happened here is, so it switched the bootloader to a cheaper region, also the stem cell release pipelines. We had some issues with the switch here, and I just added the foundings we had when now we had to produce the new stem cell release beginning of this week. So there was some issues with that. Also, the concourse worker disk has been reduced from 1 terabyte to 500 gigabyte. And the open item here is to co-locate the GCP compute instances with the SQL instance. We have or migrate the complete setup to a cheaper region. So at the moment, the SQL instance is in Europe West 4. So that's why the PR here is reconfiguring the workers to be deployed in that region. Yeah. Any thoughts on this? So ARI working group had the migration this week. You can give feedback. Does it took only 2-3 hours? Because
well, there are, of course, several pitfalls when destroying the whole stack and redeploying it. You also have to create a backup, download it, and upload it again. So you have to expect a downtime of some hours, yes.
Yeah, this is
the procedure is documented in detail, step by step.
Yeah.
So would this be a bigger problem for you, a longer downtime, or?
I don't think so. So we had to release a stem cell, which is done yet, and we don't have any urgent releases. Maybe the Postgres release.
Yeah, well, okay, that one, yes.
Yeah. So we should plan. So you have a Kubernetes-based concourse, right?
Yes.
we have a plain Bosch managed one.
Okay, well, but you will also migrate the GCP SQL database?
These are the two options on the table. To migrate the workers to the same region where the GCP SQL instances, or migrate everything to a more cheaper region.
Everything, okay. So the main effort was migrating the database, of course, because you have to create backups and you have to be careful when dealing with external encryption keys and so on. So that was the main effort, yeah. I guess migrating the Bosch deployment is not so much effort.
Yeah. Okay. The people I talk to now aside, they are busy at the moment with IPv6 and other stories. I don't know, Ruben, how is on your side? Do you hear, Ruben? Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I was searching for the unmute. Yeah, to be honest, I don't know on my side. I think that I would have to refer to Play, right? Can you or Julian? Can you speak to any objections to just executing this change, or if there's any considerations with downtime? Like I think we just need to pick a day when we're like, I think it's all about communication, right? If we just communicate, and we need to know who's going to execute it. Like some person needs to go do it, because we can merge it, but then someone needs to go apply it. I don't think it will be actually automatically just done.
No.
I don't expect our automation to be that good. So there's the merging of the PR, and then there's someone needs to go execute it, and we need to decide on who's doing it on which day. So if we can agree on that, I think it's fine.
So on our side, we don't have any objections which day it is. As I said, the people are busy, won't have time. If we say we don't have much time for this, we can just recreate the workers in the in the region where the SQL instance is, and migrate the whole setup maybe next month when we have more time.
Yeah, so Julian, do you have any insight into availability of people to help with this effort?
I think we're pretty slammed with breadcrumbs priorities. So I would hesitate to sign us up for anything. I can check later today.
I would argue that it's in Broadcom's interest that shared CI keeps working, and we cannot like have that at this cost level, right? So
sure, yeah. So just in terms of like, do I know that we have someone available to do the proper migration? I don't know that. Whether it's in Broadcom's interest or not, it doesn't always seem to affect like the decisions we make, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But let me ask in our stand up in a couple hours.
Yeah. So the ARI working group decided to move the setup to US East, right?
Yes, we've moved everything to US East 1. So the Kubernetes cluster plus the SQL database.
The most cheapest region at the moment is Europe North 2, where we moved the stem cell and the boot world releases. I don't know. We can also go with US East, maybe because
Yeah, I think it was the geographically in the middle of the involved people, so that's
yeah.
why we chose this region.
Yeah, this is for just okay then, Julian, you will check on this. And there are also additional findings which has been reported by a tool which is used in the LFX.5. I added those to the story here. So I executed some of the findings here, and I would like to execute also the others. So there is one about missing auto class on GCS bucket. Many buckets don't have this configuration, which can save money. Is there something against switching this on?
It's a trade-off, right? Like if you're accessing something that has been auto-classed to a different whatever, you're gonna pay in slower access speeds, something like that, right? So if it's a stem cell that's infrequently used, it would be slower to retrieve on the initial retrieval. But that should be fine, right? I think that's totally okay. I'm wondering, I mean, for the cleanup of stem cells, we've done something with an RFC, right? Where we said this is like, because this has basically to do, we're reducing the availability of stem cells with this, right?
This is the next thing I want to check whether the automation is still working properly.
I see.
Yeah, I know we talked on this, and at some point Joseph mentioned that there was something broken and he fixed, but I didn't lately check whether this is how is the situation with the automation is. But yeah, if yeah, we can also say retention period is not so high. Yeah, we have a good retention period and cleanup instead of this. Yeah. Yeah, I will check on the cleanup.
Yeah, and it would be like, do we know what the can we get statistics on which what is it, download frequency per object? Like, are there specific, can we see, for example, that only like the latest stem cell is downloaded really frequently and it cuts off really steeply after that, right? Because if the distribution is pretty even and we just clean up the objects after a while, right? Like then it might not be worth it. But also, on the other hand, probably the work of doing this is going to be pretty small, right? It's just enabling a property.
Yeah, I can execute with one CLI command to switch on.
Yeah, then it might not be worth to go through all the trouble of an RFC or stuff. We just try it and wait for feedback. People are start complaining. You can always revert it.
Yes, yeah. And there are some inactive buckets. I have to check on the automation to see what is the situation with inactive buckets, and also disks which are not attached to any VMs. They are not reported here, but I saw that there are some disks not attached to any VMs. I don't think that we need such kind of disks there. Some of them are just 1 gigabyte, some of them 50 gigabyte. Looks like we are leaking somewhere disks during validations. Looks to me like that. Okay, I will check on this tomorrow. Other than that, I think we are not so we have 5% saved 5% until now. Compared to last month, the stem cell release is quite, yeah, generates some costs, but yeah, we can, I think, if we move the workers and as the database of the concourse to the same region, we will reduce at least some of the costs here on network traffic. This first line here is the costs, network costs. Not all of them are because of the region difference, but some of them are. Half of those are because of the region difference. Okay, I think we have here some action items, and we can go to the dashboard then. Is there anything else you want to discuss before we start with the PRs? Okay, then let's go to the dashboard. Pending merge. We have one approval on this resolve Bosch agent, resolve networks for IPv6. It's by Felix. He's also approval. We have also approval from Aaron. So we are good to merge this one then. No objections.
Sorry, I was muted. Yeah, I guess it should be okay.
This one is about concourse. We just looked into that. We wait for changes here. There is no update. Oh, sorry, I moved to the next column. It's here.
Yeah, I added SHA-256 as you requested. But the example, I guess it doesn't make sense to provide two examples, right? I think one is enough. And with that one, I said I left the default as SHA-256. I had them under each other, and then I thought, okay, why not just toggle them? That's why I have this small script here, which just toggles between the two values.
Yeah, it makes sense to have the more secure one as example.
Yeah, I mean, we don't use SHA-1 anymore since some years.
Yeah. Okay, I think on this C group V2 support for Docker CPI still there are no updates. We are still waiting for changes. Then pending review. Yeah, this is still pending review. So this is Felix. This is now.
It's not there.
This is ready for review.
Exactly, and this also includes the bug we found with IPv4. It's there as a separate commit.
You mean the last comment here, which mentions that?
Exactly, yeah. The last comment, and afterwards there's a one commit. So that is, I guess, for fixing it.
Yeah, that's why I was a little bit confused. Is it now ready for review or not? Because there were some updates after it was ready for review. I added a comment that it's clear.
Ah, cool. Thanks.
This one, we are waiting for another review. Someone from the Bosch team, Ahmed, can do a review if people
I can also put my check mark. And,
I mean review.
I don't put because it's my team, but no, I mean I know what's in there. I just thought if someone else wants to take a look.
Yeah, we've been discussing this one. So this is done, I think, good to go now. This is fixing the feature for gallery support on Azure. Said maybe we wait a little bit for another review, but yeah. Anyway, the functionality is broken at the moment, and this is the fix for that. I think, yeah, should be. I should merge this one. And we have another one. New, enable IPv6 in the kernel if there are any IPv6 T8CP servers interfaces. Okay, yeah, this is, we need to review this just a second. Should we take out Wong from the reviewers list? When it's not. Or do you know, Julian? Wong is not doing anymore.
Yeah, Long's moved on.
Yeah.
He's not with Broadcom anymore.
Yes, I know. That's why I think I will update the list. So, with the okay, now it's better. Okay, issues. This one issue, but it is also quite old. Okay. We need to look into this. I think. This one has been updated. We released already Noble GA. I don't think we are going to add additional libraries now to the stencil. So this open, yes. CSI dependency was requested explicitly to be removed, Ahmed, if I'm if I recall that correctly.
Was it removed by us? I remember we removed something which was never used.
There were some dependencies which are not coming from the canonical main repository, main distribution.
Yeah.
They are an issue for the maintenance because we don't get security patches for those, and we try to remove those dependencies. But I can dig the story and maybe I will comment here. We have some discussion that it was done by intention to remove that, and Noble is already GA. I will comment on this.
Yeah. Okay.
What was this? Gold cigar. Someone had an issue with compiling Gold cigar, cross-compiling Gold cigar, and I looked into that. It looks like some libraries are missing when you use that on the macOS. Yeah, this is open for contribution. On Linux, we have an implementation which can retrieve CPU usage without relying on any library, but on macOS, the Go cigar is relying on libraries. When you cross-compile, it doesn't work then directly. And the request here is to also re-implement the macOS, macOS approach to do not rely on any library. I don't know. I think this is open for contribution. Is this about? This seems to be fixed. Here has been created. Okay, there is nothing else regarding issues. So we have inactive users, which we want to delete, but here we have to wait another week. Then we have all. Is there anything you want to discuss? If not, then thank you for your time. Take care and see you next time.
See you. Thank you.